And we're back. And we just finished watching 2004's horror, what is it? Zom-rom-com?
Yeah.
Yep. Zom-rom-com.
Shaun of the Dead, directed by Edgar Wright.
It was just Shaun of the Dead, not Zom.
What?
That's the genre, Olivia. Come on. Mom doesn't usually say the genre. And who cares?
That's true. Okay.
All right.
And we've asked Uncle Jay to come back and join us with this review. Hey, Uncle Jay.
Wrangling cats.
Triple threat.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
So, this is a horror comedy. A couple of jump scares, nothing too dramatic, correct? I would say.
Nothing too dramatic. There is one scene where a man is pulled apart.
Yes, but
that was basically. I think that was like an homage to
older
other
zombie.
like Romero zombie films where there's always some guy who gets his stomach pulled open and intestines are being pulled out.
So, really quick, the story follows Shaun, brilliantly played by Simon Pegg, as this kind of aimless 30-something-year-old who works at an electronics store, or like a PC Richards appliance thing, right?
Yeah.
And kind of is listless, unambitious.
Everybody just kind of takes his girlfriend for granted.
Is kind of a layabout. Probably spends too much time with his best buddy Ed, also brilliantly played by the lovely Nick Frost, and they live in this apartment with who was the other guy?
Tom.
Was it Peter?
Pete,
yes.
yeah. And what starts as one normal day then morphs into the beginning of what seems like the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Impressions. Gee, what did you think of the movie?
I liked this movie. I thought it was funny.
Did you think it was more comedic or horrific?
It was, comedic.
Comedic, right. You weren't scared. I mean, you're older, but you weren't really scared, even like the more intense bits in it.
Zombies aren't scary.
Zombies really aren't scary. Well, and these were like the slow zombies.
Those are the slow zombies, yeah. Classic slow zombies.
Yeah.
Classic slow zombies just wouldn't work. I mean, I know it's like, it's the classic Romero zombie shambling towards you, and you got the Walking Dead, and like in here, like they work good in this movie because it's comedic. The heroes are running through the zombies, just cracking them in the head with bats.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest, that's how it would be if there was a zombie apocalypse and there were slow zombies walking around. One, there wouldn't be that many, for one. And two, you would just walk around and hit them in the head. They're slow as hell. They're a non-threat. It's like, it would be like fighting a horde of babies.
Jesus.
Strange.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, but
It makes sense.
it's how they creep up and bite you.
But that's the thing, they're not very stealthy either. They're constantly going...
No, they're just lying in the bushes, and then they just bite your ankles or something.
Well, that's another thing. In a given day, you live in an urban area. In a given day, how many dead people do you come across?
At least 5.
Well, I think the other thing is that
Los
it
Angeles.
wasn't, because they were slow, it was probably easy to defeat them, because at the end...
The world goes on.
back to normal.
They're using them as like props in game shows and stuff.
Exactly. So, Uncle Jay, what did you think about this movie?
Those weird.
I mean, this is one of my favorite movies, up there with, I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. But I don't like horror movies a lot, and I wouldn't say this is a horror movie. I mean, there's a lot of gore violence, but for the most part, it's hilarious.
Yes.
And the writing is like extremely strong, particularly the character development and the relationships between the characters, whether it's like Shaun and his on again, off again girlfriend, or like his stepdad is a really good one.
Yeah.
And I love how like Pete, even when he's a zombie, is like still all disapproving of them. You can tell, it's almost like he knows who they are deep in his zombiehood and just really wants to eat them.
And he still hates Ed. He goes after Ed first.
It's so bad.
But that guy's great too. Peter Serafinowicz.
Oh my gosh.
He's fantastic. Yeah.
I loved him in Spy.
He was amazing in Spy. Yeah.
But I'm glad that Jay brought up the relationship with the stepfather. Also, very sweetly played by Bill Nighy. That was an interesting relationship exploration because here you have. It's funny how Shaun consistently was like correcting people. He's not my dad. He's my stepdad, right? He wanted to make that differentiation. It was very important to him. But then at the end,
they have like that moment.
They have that moment.
It's not really at the end.
Well, it's at the end of
their relationship.
Yeah.
The end
where
of Philip's life.
Of Philip's life, right? Where he kind of makes peace with him and accepts him. And I think Shaun also had to realize that like his mother really loved Philip.
Yeah.
And this was somebody that wasn't going to go away as much as he kicked and screamed. So
yeah,
that was like...
I mean, he had like the whole fantasy of rescuing his mom. I mean, killing Philip was just sort of like...
Yeah.
It was like, ring the doorbell, kill Philip.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I like the part in his plan where like he's having coffee at the end.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like even though Shaun's an adult, there's still very much a lot of him that needs to grow up.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody's completely right about him from the get-go. He just does not want to do anything or I guess grow up or anything like that. He wants to stay in this like permanent adolescence.
Because it's comfortable, I guess, right?
It's comfortable.
It's very comfortable. It's very easy.
Being an adult could be scary sometimes.
Sure.
It's certainly a lot less fun than being a kid.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Yeah,
I want to add my...
Yes, you
do.
kids are super lucky. Even in global pandemics, you guys are living your best lives.
Oh God, 24/7 cartoons on demand, video games.
Yeah.
Chat with your friends, even though there's diseases everywhere.
It's not about our lives. It's about the movie. So.
Yes. So let's.
We like
going off on tangents.
Like grinding on you kids about how easy you got it. So. Damn you!
All right, I already reminded you about the movie.
Olivia G? What about you? What did you think of the movie, Shaun of the Dead?
I thought it was good.
What did you think was good about it?
Good, Mom.
What did you think was good about it?
Good.
What do you like about it?
What did you like about it?
It was funny.
Yeah.
What parts did you think were really good, like funny?
When the guy with the glasses, I don't know what's his name.
The
little boyfriend idiot guy?
Yeah, the idiot guy.
David.
David. Peanuts and sitting in the dark and eating peanuts.
And then that's exactly what happened.
Wind up doing,
Yeah.
What else did you like? What about that first scene when Ed and Shaun encounter the woman in their backyard?
It was very anticipating.
Anticipating? I don't know if that's the right word.
No. Not anticipating.
Did that scare you?
It was very intense. It was hilarious.
It was very intense.
When she got on one of them.
Right.
She fell on top. They thought she was drunk.
Did you mean foreshadowing? By anticipating?
No, she meant intense.
Intense, yeah.
I don't think Olivia knows.
I was going to say, that is some foreshadowing right there.
True.
What'd you say, Gracie?
I don't think Olivia knows what the word foreshadowing means.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, she's
I don't even.
In school, they're still learning nouns and verbs. I don't think they've gotten to foreshadowing.
Hey, I'm going to treat everyone like they're, I treat everyone the same.
Olive, G, did you have a favorite character in this movie?
My favorite character was all right, don't do that.
Was it Shaun? Was it Ed?
Who was Ed again?
Ed was the fat guy.
The big guy who was his best friend. They like to play video games together.
That's insane. I like playing video games.
The guy who kept screwing everything up.
Did he?
Yes, he did. Ed was terrible.
Aww.
He may have. I mean, I'm not saying that he wasn't a good friend to Shaun, but let's be honest. He nearly got them killed at least twice due to just blatant stupidity.
Yeah, like when he got on the phone with that person.
They're like trying to be all quiet and zombie-like, and he answers his phone.
All right.
And then he has a conversation, and it's not like he's like rushing to turn it off, like, oh, sorry. He sits down and he's like, oh yeah, no, I ain't got none, you know?
No,
And then he turns on the video game.
Yeah, true. Plus, he basically helped ruin their relationship, as far as I can tell. Sean's relationship with that woman.
He helped
Like,
ruin
giving
Sean's
him the worst
relationship.
advice. He's like, hey, let's go to the pub again, all three of us and stuff. That's not a great friend.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. But he was like lovable. I guess I'm forgiving like Sean in that way.
Yeah, I mean,
he's cool.
he was funny, but
Ed was my
I gotta
favorite
be
character.
honest, he was in that
Ed was
situation. You don't want Ed with you. Just say, Ed, you know what? You could stay here in the house. I'll go do what I got to do.
You just leave Ed to die in the house.
He probably
He
would.
probably would have lived.
Yeah.
He probably would have just played video games all day and just.
In the house, all they had to do was kill Peter. That was it.
Yeah.
Pete.
Yeah.
What about you, G? Who was your favorite character?
I just said that Ed was.
Ed. Why did you like Ed?
It was funny.
He was funny. Okay.
Yeah, I liked Ed, but he was terrible.
And he was an idiot.
I as far as favorite, if I had to do a favorite, it would probably be Sean. Though.
Yeah, because he has a nice little.
He has the most growth.
Yeah.
You know, you see him change as a person throughout the entire thing. He learns a lot about himself. He learns about his upbringing. He learns about Philip and why Philip was hard on him and the relationship that they had. And
the scene with him and after when they realized that Mary, his mom, had been bit.
Yeah,
that was devastating to me.
Yeah.
And then just him mending his relationship with Liz too.
And mending his relationship with Liz. You know, yeah. The film is named Shaun of the Dead. He's the main character for a reason. And they do a great job with him. And Simon Pegg plays the part very well.
Very well. Well, he's lovable in most things.
He's lovable in most things.
He's outstanding in this, absolutely.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay? Did you have a favorite character in this?
Yeah, I'd go with Sean. I mean, like what Ray said, but also, just realize that, to my knowledge, this little duo is how Simon Pegg's career was launched, and Nick Frost to a lesser degree as well. And they even made little follow-up movies where they're like this mismatched pair.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the
I
trilogy.
love him in Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, a
and-
great big bushy beard.
Oh yeah, I knew I saw them together somewhere.
Remember
else.
that?
I've seen Hot Fuzz.
Yes. I wasn't too into The World's End, but I thought.
Yeah, World's End was probably the weakest of
the three, but
those three movies.
But Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead were outstanding.
Yeah.
But I would agree. I think Shaun is the most developed character, the one that you can get behind the most. Yeah. I like his arc. I like that he's a different person from where the story starts to where the story ends.
Do we ever figure out who his favorite character
That's
was?
good. It's really good.
Who? Oh, Dad?
What'd you say, Jay?
Those character relationships are what make the movie so strong.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why it's a good movie. I mean, there's 1,000,001 freaking zombie films, but none of them
Have the heart that this one
have
does.
reached a level, or very few have reached a level of being like a classic movie. And this is definitely not just a comedy about zombies, but it's also just a great zombie movie, because it's about the characters. And they don't really skimp out on the zombie effects. I mean, the zombies look like zombies. They're mutilated. There's, glazed eyes and teeth showing and stuff like that.
And they go to town on David.
And they go to town on David, yeah. I mean, they go to town on a couple of people. A lot of people are just torn up, you know, but they really cared. You could see that there was love in this movie for that genre.
Yeah.
And, the classic tropes of that genre.
Yes, agreed. I mean, kudos to Edgar Wright. I mean, I think that this could have gone in so many different ways, but it just hit the right balance in all those categories. I mean, it's considered a rom-com right?
Yeah.
Rom-com, right, sorry. So it's a zombie movie, and it hits on all levels. There are parts where it's pretty intense, it's suspenseful. Like you mentioned, the effects are really, really good. They don't chintz out on it. You see it. And you definitely see, I agree with you, you see the love and the homage that's paid to previous movies in the genre.
They weren't ridiculing those types of movies. And that's what a lot of the zombie comedies will do, is it'll just they'll be taking like the piss out of it. Like I did not like Zombieland. I hated that movie.
Okay, you
Yeah.
can.
Oh, even the first one?
Even the first one, I hated it. I just couldn't stand it.
With
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, especially with, what is it, The Walking Dead, I feel like zombies are overdone now. I think I had, like, vampire fatigue, now I have zombie fatigue.
I think we as a people need to move on and give zombies a rest for like a decade before we bring them back.
Exactly, I agree.
What about Peter Pan?
Oh, God.
They should put that
Peter
to
Pan should just
too.
be put to bed permanently.
Yeah,
Just
that's
no
not
more
a good
Peter Pan.
property. But I think also in the arena of comedy, again, to your point, the script is fantastic. I've had this conversation with you that it's very, to me anyway, I feel like men and women speak very differently, and the dialogue on this hit on all cylinders. To me, this is exactly how guys talk to each other. It's exactly how they communicate to each other. The spectacular bringing together of words. I'm always in awe when people do it well. I'm so jealous, and this is one of those movies where I sit there and I'm listening to it, and it's not like great prose or anything like that, but it comes together so well. All the words are just full of life. The deliveries on all of them are just fantastic and spectacular. It really is just a tour de force. I mean, I think Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright shared writing credits for this particular piece, and it's just fantastic. And and if we go into the genre of romantic comedies, I think here there's also a lot to say, because the study of the relationship between Shaun and Liz, it parallels a lot to what you would find in everyday life. I'm sure there are instances where people feel like their partner just doesn't take things seriously or really address their needs. So there's exploration into that. You have kind of like familial drama, the kind of like the three-way love triangle between Shaun, his mother, and his stepfather. It's also very...
Yeah, that was poorly phrased.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Not like that. But I mean like familial love. Familial love.
I know what you mean, but I saw G's face like wrinkle up when you said it like that.
Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. My oldest daughter is very, very, very specific when as far as verbiage and policing grammar. So I have to be very careful. Sorry. The familial elements,
the relationship
the
between the three
tensions
of them.
in the relationships between Shaun, his mother, and his stepfather. And that's beautifully done. And even though Bill Nighy's not in the movie for a very long time, I love him as an actor. I think he's fantastic. His scenes in this were very lovely. When he's, I guess, getting ready to go, it's kind of heartbreaking. When Mary goes, that to me was very heartbreaking. So yeah, I think this movie just out of the gate, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. I can't say enough about it. If you haven't seen this movie, do yourself a favor, go find it and watch it. I think we saw it, on Hulu?
No, we watched it on DVD.
We watched it on DVD.
Busted out the old DVD.
Busted out the old DVD.
Busted
Wow.
out the old DVD.
That's the jingle for DVDs.
Spectacular.
It's funny because according to this, it's playing on Hulu and Amazon Prime.
No, we tried to look at it on Hulu, and Hulu basically said, no, it's only on Hulu, like
Premium.
Hulu Premium or Hulu Plus.
Oh, same thing with Amazon Prime.
And on Amazon,
premium subscription.
It's part of, I think, either Cinemax or something. Basically, a channel that we have that they want you to pay more for to just stream, which is just absolute
aggravating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Please, cable companies, don't do that.
Yeah, stop gouging me. I already paid like $15 for your stinking channel, and you're gonna charge me extra to watch it whenever I want to. Go to hell.
Well, that's our rant about that.
Yeah.
Olive G, did you ever tell me who your favorite character in this movie was? You did not, did you?
Let's just say Ed.
Let's say Ed. You and Gracie both like Ed.
I just win.
The adults all like Sean.
So, Olive, 1 to 10, what would you give this movie?
I would give this I'd give it an 8.
An 8. Excellent.
Sweet.
What about you, G?
I'd give an 8 too. This movie made me laugh.
I'm going to give this a 9.5.
Wow,
Almost
that's
a
pretty
perfect
high.
movie. I mean, I don't know what would have made it a perfect movie, but I think it just, out of the gate, again, just everything comes together spectacularly. The writing, the acting, the art direction, the cinematography, the effects, everything, nothing's wasted. Everything moves quickly. It's not a long movie. It's 99 minutes, I believe, I saw.
It felt like it went so quick.
It went very quick. And usually horror movies aren't really long.
Yeah, horror movies really, especially
Oh,
a
yes.
horror comedy film, should not be a long movie.
A long thing, no.
Yeah.
This was an hour and 40 minutes. So,
All right.
okay. Yeah, about 100 minutes. Yeah, and just fantastic work. I really enjoyed it. And it's funny, as we were watching it, I kept saying, oh my God, look how young Simon Pegg looked.
I mean, he never had a full head of hair, but he had way more hair.
Than he does now. And can you believe this movie is 16 years old?
Sure makes you
Shut
feel
up.
old, huh?
Shut your mouth.
What about you, Jay? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this movie?
You know, I got to one up you on that. I would say a 9.7, maybe. Like it's way up there for me. So somewhere between 9.5 and 10.
Yeah.
I think it's like a compressed view of an everyday guy's life if a zombie apocalypse breaks out in mid-London, and it's like, or wherever where are they?
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
they're
it's London.
Yeah, I think it's London.
Is it London?
Or no, it's not London. It's like some suburb.
It's like Birmingham. It's like Birmingham or something. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
like if
it's-
it breaks out, and so the character relationships are so good. I definitely laughed out loud several times, which that doesn't happen to me too often anymore.
You are a harsh critic.
Yes.
I am a harsh critic. But, those darn whippersnappers. But I just think it's the full package, and pretty much just agree with most of what Joanne just said. In addition,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably give it like a 9.5 as well. I enjoy this film a lot. For a comedy, I believe they handled the zombies well. Like I said, I don't think I probably in the minority when I say this, but slow zombies do not work. They don't work.
They're better
if
in
there was
Train
any-
to
say that.
Busan.
If there was
disagree.
ever a zombie apocalypse, slow zombies would not work. They
You know
have
why
to be
they
the
wouldn't?
fast.
But that's good in a
Like
way, right?
Train
Because
to
we don't want them
Busan.
to
I
be fast.
disagree. Ray's wrong. We're all doomed for sure because you're discounting the exponential growth spread factor. The
That's
vector is
true.
like any amount of drool or anything that gets in your skin.
But no, that's not true. How
it's
much
not?
blood was splattered on Simon Pegg's shirt and face after they killed those first 2 zombies?
No, they have to bite you. I understand. They have to bite you, right?
So
Or can they
then,
scratch you?
it's not just spatter. It's they have to
Right, they
physically
have to bite
grab you and
Yeah.
bite you, and
Right.
they are slow as hell. They're not very strong, and yet somehow there's like millions of them. The benefit they have is that there's millions of them.
Right.
But the problem is that, like I said, how many dead people do you encounter on an average day?
But
None.
even if you can beat the
You've
slow
never
zombie
encountered
down, just
any-
one little bite.
It doesn't matter.
One
You
piece
never
bite
encounter
adds to
zombies
the
on an
horror.
average. You never encounter dead people on an average day. On top of that, if somebody does die, where do they usually die? In their house. Zombies don't know how to use doors.
They break through the
They'd
windows.
be trapped in. The zombie would be trapped inside of the house
Yeah, until someone opened it. It was like,
until
hey,
somebody
wait,
opened,
where
and
are
they'd be
you?
like, "Oh God, the zombie bit me," or some zombie bit me, and like, eventually they would put the zombie down. They'd realize, oh, it's a headshot, and that would be it. You don't even have to.
but
You don't even have to be a
everyone
marksman. You don't even have to. You could walk right up to it and go.
If we're going realistic, nobody will even believe that zombies exist.
It
Like,
doesn't
all
matter
these
if they
little
believe it or
zombies-
not. They know that a flesh-eating lunatic is out on the loose, and if you shoot him in the head, he will die.
But
You
what
can't
about
just gun some people down
getting
in
back
the
to
head.
like
No one's
Jay's
gonna think
point?
they're zombies.
The in mass when they were at the Winchester, they completely tore David apart.
Right, in mass, but I don't think it would ever reach that level. Like one thing that's not really clear is Sean.
There were a lot of zombies outside the Winchester.
Sean starts seeing zombies like the day before when he goes and gets drunk with
Ed.
With Ed.
He sees like that guy chasing pigeons in the park.
Right.
That's like I think that's the
They
first
start
time we see
singing
zombies.
with him.
Well, no,
right?
was the guy when they were leaving the Winchester? Was it?
No, I'm talking about even before that. He's riding on the bus and he looks out the window.
And he sees
there's
that guy.
that crazy zombie. Nobody knows he's a zombie. That he could have just been a crazy homeless guy.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was just a crazy homeless guy. I didn't think he was a zombie.
Oh.
I thought he was a zombie at that point.
Well, and no one would believe it. That's how the zombieism
Nobody would
spread.
believe it, but guess what? The police would come, they would knock him down, they would bind him, and then that would be it.
And the police
But what
gets
if he
bit a
bit
little
one
bit,
of
but
them?
doesn't know.
If the policeman gets bit.
The policeman gets bit on the hand for sure.
No.
So then now
Not
the policeman
necessarily.
goes home to his
But what
wife,
if he did?
slaughters them.
Then guess what? The policeman would get sick and die. And where would he die? In a hospital.
and with all
Behind
those
a door
people,
that he
after
can't
biting
open.
The doctor
But if he gets
and
bit,
the
doesn't
doctor
he
and
get
nurse get
turned?
bit now.
No.
It's
Listen,
just a few
you-
days.
No, because his stepfather got bit and then he turned. Same thing with Mary. She got bit and then she turned, and
you
that's
get
why
bit
he had to
when you
shoot her.
turn. And it takes a while to turn.
That's another thing. It takes a long time. But by that point, they already know what's going on.
You're trying to say that slow zombies are not dangerous to us in this real society, and I'm telling you they are for that reason.
I
It's
agree
gonna
with Jay
take
on this.
forever.
I think you're wrong.
No, the only way
You're
it
gonna
would,
die in a
the
zombie
only way
apocalypse,
the
Ray.
only way it would work is if the zombies were fast and the rate of infection was fast.
You have people
Well,
that don't want to wear masks. So I'm sure
I'm
that
not
they
hyped
wouldn't
in New York.
believe that there was a zombie apocalypse. So the rate of infection would be probably more than you could even speculate. And
Listen, given what we know,
Way more than you could speculate, Ray.
yes.
no.
And Ray, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'm gonna hike there, and based on I should be perfectly safe with all these little slow zombies. You will not be hanging by
You
your
should be
intestines
totally
from the
fine. You
rafters.
should, if there was a zombie apocalypse, you could probably get on a plane, come down here, and you would
Yeah, I'll
have
just get
no
on the
problem.
plane.
You would have no
What if there's a
problems.
zombie on the
How many
plane?
people
Right.
drop dead on planes?
There's been a few.
Yeah.
I mean,
How many people got on the plane with a little cut on their ankle, or they got bit by their child who they thought was acting strangely on their hand, and there they
I'm
are, and now there's two zombies on the plane,
What?
trapped in a
I'm
steel
sorry.
tube of zombies.
No, I don't buy it. No.
I mean, look at what was the zombie movie with Sarah Polley?
That was Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, right? The little girl got it, and she's standing outside the doorway.
Those were fast zombies. That's a difference. Fast zombies would work. Fast zombies would
Yeah,
work.
think about 28 days later, that'd be a good
28
time.
days
Even
later,
that
people
would
got
be
infected
really
like
cool.
that,
Die, for
and
sure.
they ran at you.
That was
Instantly.
You couldn't run away from them.
Yeah, that
and
would-
another
yeah,
that would
thing,
be worse,
Ray,
Ray, but
they
we're
don't
still gonna die
get
in the
get
zombies.
tired. In zombie movies, they're coming out of the ground. They're just suddenly there. Where the hell are all these dead people going? I'm watching The Walking Dead, and these people have been living with zombies for at least 10 years now,
yeah.
and there's still like giant hordes of zombies? How is
know.
this possible?
Yeah, you'd think.
Well,
they
it's the
would-
entire
yes.
population of the entire United States.
It doesn't. We watched from the beginning of The Walking Dead. They know how to kill zombies. There shouldn't be hordes of zombies anymore.
Eh.
Well,
It's
there's
been
400
10
million people
goddamn
wandering around.
years. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense.
I disagree.
Ray's
I
in
disagree.
denial about his
Yes.
impending doom from the
No,
zombies.
slow zombies would not be a threat.
I disagree.
No-
I think a lot of people
nothing
wouldn't
would
take
come
it
out of
seriously.
graveyards. Nothing would come out of morgues. Nothing would come out of apartments.
Well, I don't think that part
No,
of the
it's the
zombie lore would work.
transmission
I
that
think
is
that,
dangerous.
but I
Right,
think
and guess what? We learned very
no
quickly
cure.
how to stop transmission of diseases.
What, chop
We
up their arm really
do.
quick after they get bit by the zombie?
But doesn't that
No,
work
you
with,
just
like,
put
the
that
Black
person in
Black
quarantine and wait
Death?
for them to turn a zombie and blow their head off.
Um,
Sure, you try and cure him along the way, but guess what? Oh, well, he's dead now, and now he's trying to eat me. But fortunately, that door has a doorknob, and he's too stupid to use it now. So I'm just going to open a little slit in his window door and blow his head off.
Yeah, but okay. What about the example
the governments
in the
are going to
movie?
embrace some sort of like these are zombies and stuff. They're going to be like, this is a complex PCP-like state. Do not try to apprehend these. So if you find me on the plane beating an old woman to death, they're never going to believe that it's a zombie.
Even if that happens, and they're like, oh, well, we don't believe he's a zombie. Once they see that the person's dangerous, they would put them in restraints. And then what doctor's going to be like, well, I'm just going to stick my hand in his mouth and see what... No doctor's going to do that.
You don't know that.
Well, guess what? If the doctor does do that,
Ray,
and they're like, oh, well, this guy's infected with something.
I'm surprised to learn how often psych nurses get bit by patients.
Yeah.
It is constant.
Okay, well, guess what? If that patient had some sort of disease that we know is contagious, we would put that person in quarantine.
And I disagree with your analogy about them not knowing how to use knobs, because guess what? Why are there still flying things around?
I don't know.
Because at the end in the Winchester, they didn't know how to use knobs, but guess what? The impact and the force of all of them just moving forward, broke all of them into the Winchester.
Yeah.
They all came in. They had to go into the cellar to try to escape them.
And that's another thing. They wouldn't have known about this. They wouldn't have known what to do with the cellar door.
I don't know.
The cellar door would have been...
You know what? I agree with you. They probably would have been safe there, but because Ed had been bit, Liz and Sean had to leave the room.
Yeah, it was going to turn into it.
Right.
Although
he started shooting at the floorboards, and I think they were starting to come downstairs into the cellar.
They're not smart enough to figure that out. I mean, they did in the movie, but that's just a plot hole in the movie.
I don't know if it's a plot hole.
Yeah, that's a plot hole.
Again, zombies really don't exist, and we're just...
Zombies don't exist, but the ones that do exist are mindless. They just shamble towards something that's warm and try to eat it. And that's basically their existence.
But I disagree with your hypothesis that slow ones wouldn't be
Slow
dangerous.
ones wouldn't be a threat.
I disagree.
I'm sorry. If you saw something coming towards you that slowly, and you
Ray,
knew,
you may wake up tonight with your belly torn open from the floor.
And you knew how to kill. You know what? I wouldn't be worried because you know what? Unlike Sean and Ed, I would lock my door.
Not every night.
Yes.
Do you?
Oh yeah, I leave the doors wide open when I come to bed.
Oh, I thought you meant the bedroom door you lock.
No, I'm talking about the door to our
front
house.
door. Yeah.
I don't think any of these people, my wife and my children, I don't think they're just going to spontaneously die in the middle of the night. If they spontaneously died in the middle of the night, then yes.
Is that how zombies work? If you die, you turn into a zombie even if one didn't bite you? Is that part of the canon?
No.
In the beginning, I mean, it has to be that way in the beginning.
Well, somebody somewhere has to have
how does the first zombie come about?
Virus?
It basically means when somebody just drops dead, they arise without having been bitten. The first one is never bitten. Who's going to bite the first zombie?
So, is that classified as necromancy?
If that would be, if there's some necromancer who made zombies, I don't know. I don't think that was in the movie.
Well, maybe it was a man-made virus that got released into the air.
I think that's what they were saying. Like the little background news reports, they said it's like was it like a satellite fell to Earth?
Yeah,
or
an
something?
asteroid fell down or something, and like.
Yeah. So the first person isn't really.
But they're not just rising from the graves. Like if you're just you kill yourself to avoid zombies, you don't just rise up as a zombie.
I mean, I don't know. They never went that far in this movie. They never went that far. Oh yeah,
in this movie, I'm not sure. I
mean, in The Walking Dead, that yes, if you drop dead from like a cold, you will become a zombie.
But also, Ray, based on your argument, just in this movie, some of them have consciousness, like we saw with Pete, or like we saw with Ed when he gets to play video games at the end. He still wants to play video games. He's not completely just shambling around devouring things. So some of them have like a consciousness.
They have to chain him down, and Ed tries to bite Sean's arm.
Yes.
Well,
he still wants to bite, but
I mean, who knows? Maybe after a certain amount of time, it's like, hey, what's going on? Sorry
who
about
knows?
trying to eat you, but I felt really weird in the beginning, and now I'm okay.
Well, they would have to die. I mean, if we're gonna use the analogy of like 28 days later, that was interesting because it was the rage virus, right? But then because there was no one else
that
to
was
kill,
good.
they sort of just all died, right?
Well, they didn't even want to eat.
They didn't want to eat, right? They just wanted to destroy
Yeah, like they weren't even biting people. They were just
Right.
beating people and vomiting on them.
and just tearing them apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was such a good movie.
The one
Yeah,
thing,
that
the
was
plot
great.
hole in that one was,
Here we go.
why weren't they killing each other?
Yeah, that's a good plot hole. You mentioned this. I remember you saying that a long, long time ago.
Yeah, if they were so enraged,
That's a good
why were they all on the
Maybe
same
they
team?
were enraged about people that weren't like them
But how could they tell?
because they still had the consciousness enough to know that he's one of us, but he is
But
not.
how?
Because
Well,
you
what
can
would
see.
prevent some normal person from just splattering themselves with all sorts of food and goo and just being like, "Ah, I'm crazy"?
Well, you know what's
Fair
funny? When you see
Maybe,
stuff,
maybe pheromones. They could smell
Yeah.
who was on their side or not.
maybe, but
Well,
and you can
zombies
see
is-
that when people try to blend in,
pheromones.
like in The Walking Dead, they've done that where they kind of
Shaun
like
of the Dead, they did the same
in the
thing.
Shaun of the Dead, they did the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So maybe if they try to blend in, they would, but I think it obviously in 28 days it's a little bit different because the virus came from that animal facility, right? Where they were testing on
it
the
was
animals
clearly
and the activists
manufactured.
were like,
Yeah.
The monkeys are infected with rage.
Well, I gotta be honest. I mean, Shaun of the Dead, they do pay respect to the whole genre, but there are plot holes there.
Sure,
Because I mean, the whole we could just pretend to be zombies and they won't notice us.
wouldn't work.
That doesn't make
properly.
sense. That doesn't make any sense as far as zombies, because zombies are
Yeah, but from comedy, it makes
they're
good sense.
supposed to be attracted to like the warmth of a living being, like the.
I liked how his mom didn't even have to do anything. She just walked around.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah, everybody was great in it, but yeah, shout out to Simon Pegg
So yeah,
for being amazing.
So this movie did do some stuff that was for convenience of plot.
Yeah.
So
All right, so that's it from us. We'll wrap it up. And again, if you can get yourself in front of something and watch Shaun of the Dead, do it. Do it immediately. It's a great movie. It's a fun time. It's not scary. I would say there's a little bit of cursing, strong language.
there
Maybe
is strong
like-
language.
There is
Yes.
strong
Well,
language.
So
I would
the English
say
are very fond of a certain word.
yes, yes,
It's bandied about quite well.
quite yes, frequently. I would say 12 and up. Yeah.
I said 12 and up.
Yes, I agree, Olive J. 12 and up. There is strong language. There is some
There's some gore.
gore,
When the man's
some
stomach was
intense
torn
scenes, but otherwise a
David.
fun little journey to be had.
Yes.
open. Okay, good night.
All right, that's it from us, and we will come back with another review soon. Thank you, Uncle Jay.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Uncle
Thank you guys.
Jay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.